The truth is we can't control so many external circumstances. This is where most people's stress comes from. Stress and burnout and anxiety is trying to control external circumstances. The truth is that we can't, but what we can control is our reaction to it. That's actually where our power is, controlling our reactions to things and having a plan to overcome it that actually keeps us empowered and on track.
Hi, I'm James.
And I'm Claire.
And together we're the Midlife Mentors. So we are coaches and podcasters. We work with both private clients and we go into organizations where we deliver programs and workshops around things like leadership development, Andropause, Menopause, goal setting and habits, stress management, a whole host of subjects. Today, we're just going to summarize for you some goal setting tips to enable you to have a happier, healthier, more successful life.
Yeah, so effectively, one of the big challenges that we have in life is that we set goals, maybe in our work environment, maybe for our children, but we don't really spend the time, particularly at midlife, we don't spend the time really thinking about our own goals, our personal goals. Maybe it might be that over time, we've gone for some of those goals and we've failed, we've lost self-belief. It might be that we just think, oh, that's just a pipe dream. But actually, we've been here today really encouraging people to think about their dreams and their goals and starting to think about them in a bit of a different way. So one of the first tips was really to make sure that you prioritize and plan your goal. So, you know, when we talk about this a lot, when you think about a goal or a dream, it's going to stay a wish. It's just going to be like 5 years, another 10 years, another 15 years down the line if you don't start to plan it and prioritize it. So that's one of the first tips we would say is make it SMART. We remember the SMART objective, but also make sure that you have an emotional connection to it.
So the other thing is have a framework for achieving your goal. This is where we often fall down. Like Claire just said, we have a dream or a wish, but we don't put the framework around it. So one we like, which won't be a surprise if you come from corporate world, is SMART. Make our goals specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And while that's great for corporate goals, it does lack something for personal goals. So what we want to introduce into this is the all-important emotion. This is your deep emotional connection of why you want to achieve this goal. So on the surface, it may just be that, oh, I want to get fitter because I just want to feel better in my clothes. But actually, maybe you want to be fitter because you've got children or grandchildren and you want to spend more quality time with them and ensure longevity of life. The truth is that motivation wanes when we're going for our goal. So having that emotional connection to come back to is what's going to keep us going and get us up in the mornings when we're not feeling like doing it and keep us on track.
One of the key mistakes that we make when we're going for a goal is that we look at the top of the mountain. So if we haven't achieved something before, it can feel very daunting. And so we've got our eyes on the top of the mountain. And a lot of the time it can be so overwhelming that we become inert. We actually stop. We think it's so unachievable because it's so big and we haven't done it before. This is why it's really, really important to break down the mountain into smaller steps. So a 2-week milestone is really helpful because psychology actually says that we can't really fathom achieving goals more than about 2 weeks in advance. And what that does, if we set ourselves 2-week incremental goals, it builds confidence, it builds resilience, but also we can start working our way up that mountain bit by bit. And then all of a sudden we find that we're 3/4 of the way up, nearly at the top, but it stops that feeling of overwhelm and inertia.
So far, we've got our plan. We've broken it down to those small steps. We've got the emotional connection of why I want to achieve it to help with our motivation. But what people often fail to account for is obstacles that are going to come up in life. And they can be both external and internal. External are the ones you have less control over. This is stuff like the weather, your car breaking down, your train being late. So all we have to do there is know which ones we can predict and make a plan for how we're going to adapt around it. The ones that we can't predict, just work on our reaction to it so we don't get derailed. Because here's the thing, our subconscious is very, very powerful and it will love the chance just to step off the goal and be derailed by something that's gone wrong. We see this all the time. We call it all or nothing thinking. So someone who's going for a goal, but then they don't take the actions on a day, or maybe they have that big weekend blowout, they'll be like, oh, well, I've blown it now, I won't continue. Not at all. Just get back on the horse. So predicting those external ones is really important.
And also I do think we all do this. It's human nature to kind of blame when we're going for a goal and we get derailed. It's often really easy to blame external things. But actually, like James just said, we do need to plan for what those obstacles are, because the truth is we can't control so many external circumstances. This is where most people's stress comes from. Stress and burnout and anxiety is trying to control external circumstances. The truth is that we can't, but what we can control is our reaction to it. That's actually where our power is, controlling our reactions to things and having a plan to overcome it that actually keeps us empowered and on track.
So the other type of obstacles we'll come up against, of course, are internal. So these are belief systems. They're very, very powerful. They're formed when we're young, but they might not be helpful now we're older to get towards the goal we want. Remember that our subconscious will always try and keep us safe by keeping us in a place of status effectively. So we need to know that, understand it, and work against it. So a really helpful thing to do is think about your goal and think about what beliefs do I have that might actually hinder me in achieving that. Then what are the opposing beliefs that I would need? And we can use something called modeling here, actually. If you can't think of it, think, oh, if someone who did achieve that goal, what beliefs do I think they would have about themselves? And over time, we can start to adopt those. So affirmations is a really powerful way to start affirming new beliefs and change over time. And here's the thing, our beliefs aren't fixed. We can change them. And there's something we can use, something called cognitive dissonance. When our beliefs and behaviors are out of sync, we'll get something called dissonance. When we can bring our behaviors and our beliefs in line, we'll move forward towards our goal much faster. So while we're doing the new behavior that's taking us to our goal, affirming our new belief will move us there a lot faster.
Also, I think it's a fallacy that we think that going for a goal is going to be comfortable. The truth bomb is that we cannot be comfortable and grow at the same time. So we're in a quick fix society and we're in a dopamine hit society where we want everything to feel good because we've got so many things around us that kicks into that dopamine. This is the real kicker really for stopping most of us achieving our dreams, is because when we start to feel uncomfortable, we pull back. But the truth is you need to go through that feeling of being uncomfortable in order to get to your dreams and your goals. And this is the most fascinating thing. Recent research has shown us that actually when we start doing something that we don't want to do and we do it more frequently, our brain starts to rewire and actually we start to get a dopamine kick from the thing that we didn't want to do. Our confidence lifts, our resilience lifts, and our self-belief, the beliefs about ourselves that might have been fixed, we start to change those as well. But we need to understand that we are going to feel uncomfortable, and our subconscious mind is going to want to keep us in safety because our subconscious mind wants to keep us safe, and it will always go for the path of least resistance. So that's the comfort. But once we can bypass that and we can keep on pushing through, that's when the long-term rewards of achieving the life of our dreams comes.
The other thing that, of course, can derail us are our habits. Now, these are often unconscious behaviors that are formed over time. And we should think of habits as either helpful or unhelpful. So again, when we're thinking of our goal, we can think, what are some of the habits I have that might be unhelpful in helping me achieve that goal? Have I got a habit of just now sitting on the sofa every night when actually I said I'll go out for a run? So how are we going to shift that habit over time? Now, a habit has three parts. It has the trigger, the behavior, and then the reward. So we can attack any of those. But what we want to do is maybe install a new trigger for a new habit. Make sure we're doing the correct behavior. If we can't change the trigger, change the behavior, and then install a new reward. And again, like changing beliefs, over time, we can build and transform our habits to be helpful to help us get towards our goals.
I'd also say really, really look at the people that you have around you. So accountability is one of the key missing parts of achieving our goals. People really overlook the power of accountability. Having someone in your life that you can share this goal with that will hold you lovingly but quite firmly accountable to achieving your goal. So that's really, really powerful. It might be a coach, it might be a mentor, but also really making sure that you are in an environment of people that believe in you, that inspire you, that don't bring you down, because they say that we are like the 5 people that are around us the most. So check in with those 5 people that are around us. It doesn't mean to say you have to get rid of them, but maybe expand your network into, a group of people that have done that's really powerful. Find people that have done what you want to do and have got the steps and can hold out their hand and show you the next step without you getting overwhelmed. But inspiration from other people that believe in you, and you can borrow their belief for a while. You can borrow their belief and still you've got it yourself, but it's really, really powerful to put yourself in an accountable environment.
The other thing I want to do is remember to celebrate the small wins. Again, we're not very good at human beings at doing this. We dwell on our failures, but fail to acknowledge our successes. So with your plan, with your 2-week milestones, when you hit those, you get that sense of achievement, give yourself a small reward. Again, this will help reinforce those beliefs and the fact that you're going for your new goal. So remember to be compassionate with yourself and reward yourself when you hit your achievement milestones.
Another key thing is to avoid the comparison trap. You know, the grass is greener where you water it. There's always going to be people in the world, especially in social media world, where they're sharing their highlight reels that very, very often are exactly that. They're their highlight reels. They're not the real world, but we see these and we compare ourselves and we're going for our goal. We might not have got to where we want and we see someone else having achieved it or smashing their goals. And then we feel small and we pull back and we feel like we're not enough. Please understand that this is your journey, your life. You've been given your gifts and this is not a dress rehearsal. This is your life. So switch off the social media. If you're finding yourself really comparing yourself to other people, then as much as you can, start limiting the amount of stuff that you are feeding yourself, because that's another thing. When we're going for a goal, be very careful about what you're feeding yourself. And I don't mean food. I mean your senses, what you're looking at, what you're listening to. Make sure that it is all aligned as much as possible with your goal.
I'll say the last thing we want to do is make sure we've got accountability. So of course we always have accountability to ourselves, but can we get an outside party? A lot of research tells us that when we make accountability public, we're much more likely to stick to what our goals and behaviors. So get an accountability partner. It might be a friend, it might be a group you join, it might be a coach or mentor, but this is something that will actually really help accelerate your success and massively increase your chances of succeeding.
Also, it's very, very difficult sometimes to walk the tightrope of wanting to go for more and having a goal and also staying grounded and grateful for what you already have. And it is a tightrope to walk, but basically what you do want to do every single day is check in with your goal, is to visualize your goal. There's a real power in visualizing your goal. So imagining close your eyes and imagine what it looks like, how you feel, how you interact with people, the new ways that you dress, the new things you have around us. But you also need to make sure that you stay grounded in gratitude for what you have now, because you are so blessed. You have so many things, and this will stop you thinking, I'll be happy when, because we get the disease of I'll be happy when, and we never reach it because we're not grateful. You can experience gratitude and happiness exactly where you are right now and still shoot for the goal. So one of the things that we say is every single morning, wake up, have a morning routine. Do not switch your mobile phone on until you sat for 5 minutes, visualize your goal, thought about your goal, got emotional about your goal, but also give 3 things that you are grateful for. And don't just play lip service to it. Really feel the emotion. I've got air in my lungs. My heart is breathing. I've got a gorgeous cup of coffee right here. I've got a roof over my head. Really feel those, because they will anchor you into happiness and learning how to be happy now whilst you're waiting and enjoying the journey of the goal to come.
So that's a summary of one of the talks we delivered here at the Ideal Home Shelf. So we did cover some other subjects. The other thing that we talked about was my book, The Midlife Male Handbook. And I wrote this for some of the reasons that we talked about in the goal setting, actually. A lot of men at midlife can feel disconnected from a sense of purpose, a sense of fulfillment. They can become more isolated. There are psychological pressures. There are also hormonal changes for men that can affect mood and confidence levels. And really that's the reason I wrote that book. I had my own dip in my early 50s. I was working with corporates on leadership development, and this was something that was coming up continually. So my book, The Midlife Male Handbook, helps address all this, and it's got a full program in there that includes the stuff we've been talking about here: goal setting, tracking it, having that vision for yourself in your life.
Because I think that really affects, I work with a lot of midlife women. We're going through the menopause. Men are going through something called the Andropause, which is their hormonal changes. And we talk a lot about relationships and midlife relationships and how to help them thrive and reconnect at midlife. And I think that's one of the things, is about bringing awareness to the fact that in a relationship, the man is also we've heard a lot about the menopause, and that's amazing, and more needs to be done. We also now need to be also talking about and addressing the andropause, which is the symptoms of low testosterone. It's a very, very real thing. And us women can be really supportive and helpful, because one of the things that I hear a lot from women is, I don't understand what's happened to my husband, my partner. He's becoming isolated. He's withdrawn. He seems to just not be present anymore. He doesn't feel confident or comfortable in his own skin. He's maybe distanced himself from my children. I really can't reach him and I don't understand. And James's book, we've got a lot of women buying this book because James's book really explains what men are going through hormonally, but more importantly, the strategies that they can start to employ, lifestyle, simple strategies that they can start to employ to really regain control over their body, their mind and their life, which positively impacts relationships.
I hope you found these tips helpful. You can get my book, The Midlife Male Handbook, at all good bookstores, and you can find out more about us and contact us at themidlifementors.com.